What I recorded in my last video, which was confessional in nature, where I talked about a humiliating, alienating experience. I believe that's the title that I gave it. Um, which was kind of apropos of nothing. It just came out of the blue. I thought to myself, this is something maybe I should talk about. And it was, it was apropos of nothing, but what gave me the idea to do it were certain other YouTube characters, personalities, who seem to specialize in this kind of way of relating to their audience. I really don't want to name anyone, because this isn't about calling anybody out or anything like that, or I just would rather just keep it anonymous. Some of you may know or guess who the kind of videos that I mean when the ones that I'm referring to right now. But there are those out there who have whose entire YouTube persona is basically about sharing humiliating experiences that they have had. Talking about their lousy lives, and how this thing happened to them and that thing happened to them, and it, while the stories are often painfully entertaining, I think there's something about the whole idea that the whole idea of presenting yourself to the world in this way, manifesting your persona in such a way where you're just talking about your lousy life and how nothing goes your way anytime. There's something about that I think it's not the best way to relate to the world. Whether you think about it or not, whether you like it or not, I believe that when you are doing something like this, even if you only have a very few numbers of people who watch your videos, you are still putting yourself forward in a way, and you're responsible for the persona that you broadcast to the world. So, I think just if you get caught up in just bitching about how bad things are, and I don't mean to demean it by saying it's just bitching, because a lot of we've been through some shit. You have, I have, we all have, and it's not, and I don't demean that at all. But I would say, and maybe this is part of why, part of my whole resistance to black pill thinking. I believe that most of the time, those who talk about being black pilled are feel free to give themselves over to self-indulgence. And I just think you do yourself a disservice if you do that. You demean yourself. You may think of it as, well, I'm just being honest, or I'm just I'm laying forth my bare soul to the world, or you might just think this is therapeutic because I'm venting, and I understand that impulse. I really and truly do. In my video about what's her name, Mary Kamansky, is that right, or Lemansky, and her tweets, and how she got into a lot of trouble for them, and they were awful tweets. They were things that she should never have said to the world, especially given that she was a semi-public figure, and she bore responsibility for saying the terrible things that she said in those tweets. But I also, instead of just in that video, instead of just just piling on and talking about how awful I think she is, I preferred to take the tack of saying, well, this is what part of what the medium of social media, which I guess this is too. YouTube is part of social media too, I guess, in a way. But I think that one of the problems with social media, and I think, as I've said, I think there are more minuses than pluses overall to the existence of social media generally. I think we were better off without it. I'm going to assert that right now. Am I being a hypocrite for for broadcasting videos on, I guess what could be called a social media platform, while maintaining what I'm maintaining about social media? I get why someone might say that. But I guess what I am saying is, I don't think social media has to be a bad thing. But the problem is it hands you this microphone and tempts you to share what you're thinking and what you're feeling with the world, and that can be good and that can be bad, because there are some things you maybe shouldn't share with the world. No matter how much you feel it burning inside of you, this is maybe something you shouldn't talk to people about, shouldn't go public with. We do have a public persona, which is not the same thing as who we are, and that's a good thing. You should cultivate a public persona that has a sense of boundaries, that has a sense of prudence. It's good to be honest, but it's also good to be prudent, and those two qualities can and should be balanced, in my opinion. So this is all brought to mind, of course, as I said, by the last video that I posted, which was a very confessional, very some may listen to it and think of it as a woe is me kind of story. But I wanted to present it within a certain context, and I wanted to present it in a way that wasn't just me venting or otherwise being self-indulgent, but within this wider context, maybe helped to show certain things about what it's like, what certain struggles in life can be like if you're a particular kind of person, if you are somebody who is private but at the same time has an exhibitionistic streak, or if you're somebody who is who yearns for greater connectedness with others, while also generally harboring a streak of profound alienation. That's the context in which I meant. Now, okay, again, I hope I'm not coming across like I'm scolding anybody here. I'm not wagging my finger at anybody. I'm not. And again, no names are mentioned here. And I will give these people, the people that I'm criticizing here, I will give them some. I'm not going to say who it is, or if it's one person, or if it's many people, but I give them credit because they gave me this. It was hearing their stories that gave me this kind of inspiration to talk about this thing that happened to me in the waning years of my marriage, um, and to share that, which was a personal thing, but to share it because, again, I thought within a particular context it was a useful thing to share. But we should be mindful of our public persona, and we should be mindful that just because we want to say something doesn't mean we should say it. And again, before there was social media, you didn't. Who could you vent to? You could call your friends and vent to them. You could write in your diary, which no one would read, unless you showed it to them. I don't know. You could. The point is, if you weren't somebody who had access to a piece of media, if you weren't a columnist for a newspaper or something like that, then you couldn't just be Andy Rooney all the time. We've all become Andy Rooney. That's what social media has done to us. We've all become. You ever wonder why? I hate it when. Okay, I'm being a little silly right now, but we have seen an Andy Rooney-ification, and worse. I mean, Andy Rooney was generally pretty harmless, but there's some really malevolent characters out there, some malevolent personalities who really want to do damage, who really want to hurt people, and it's not good. It's not a good thing. And I just heard that Jack Dorsey quit Twitter. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything that I'm talking about here, but it's interesting that it happened. I just saw the headline. Anyway, and Twitter is like the worst of the worst as far as I'm concerned. As far as all social media goes, Twitter is the bottom, the very, very bottom of the barrel. So, take what I have to say here to heart if you wish to. Comment if you feel the need to. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Andy Nowicki, altrightnovelist.com. Check out my latest book, The Insurrectionist, which I think still can be purchased for a Black Friday-esque price. I believe that sale has been extended a few days. And you can go to terrorhousepress.com to do that. Thanks for watching.